after being rejected when he wanted to get intimate. The man suddenly noticed that his dog had jumped onto the bed and lifted his wife's clothes. After being scolded, the dog sniffed the woman's stomach. Then it came to the edge of the bed and suddenly started barking wildly. The couple told the dog to be quiet, but the dog took a step back and barked even louder. It only stopped when the woman got angry. Its eyes were fixed on the woman's stomach. The woman finally realized something and hurriedly took out a pregnancy test kit and found that she was indeed pregnant, but neither of them looked happy because the dog, Xiaobai, had once been a stray and was often bullied by children on the street, until one day, the kind woman stood in front of it and brought the dog home. But her husband had always opposed taking it in, fearing the dog might harm the unborn baby. But the woman refused to let it roam the streets again. Her husband reluctantly agreed. For now, soon the baby was born. A daughter? The woman just arrived home holding the infant to show the dog. But Xiaobai suddenly barked wildly, scaring the baby in her arms into wailing. The husband saw this and flew into a rage. He had already had enough of this stray dog. He took the opportunity to lock the dog in the yard. It stayed locked up for a week, no matter how much his wife pleaded. It was no use until one day, the dog suddenly noticed that the neighbor's dog could play so happily with its owner. This heartwarming scene deeply moved it. It looked back at the house, its eyes filled with thought. That night, the couple was awakened by their daughter's cries. They were about to go check on the sound when it suddenly stopped. They thought their daughter was in danger. But when they entered the baby's room, they were stunned. They saw that the dog had somehow run inside and stuck its mouth into the crib. The man thought the dog was going to harm his daughter, so he locked it outside, but not long after. It suddenly spotted the black dog passing through the living room and barked to signal it to help open the door. The black dog was very smart and actually ran over to open the door for the dog. The dog didn't have time to thank it before rushing back inside. The black dog didn't mind and even closed the door behind it as it left to show its loyalty. The dog stayed by the little girl's door all night, but the next morning the man saw this and wasn't moved. He even asked the dog why it kept bothering his daughter. Luckily, the woman saw its good intentions. She knew that the dog, which had a fear of children, had made a big change. The two went to the bed to check and found that the daughter was sleeping soundly, and it seemed like they hadn't heard any crying that night. Was all of this the dog's doing? Seeing the dog clearly wanting to approach, but then meekly backing away in a pitiful manner. The man finally let go of his prejudice and agreed to let the dog get close to his daughter again. They held the child and gestured for the dog to come over. This time the dog was very obedient. It waited for the owner's permission before cautiously approaching the baby, earning itself the opportunity to stay in the home. Adopting this stray dog was the greatest honor for their family. In the days that followed, the dog took on the task of caring for the little girl. It eagerly rushed to throw away every soiled diaper. When the little one ate, it would lie beneath her, cleaning up any fallen food. Gradually, the daughter learned to walk. One day, as she climbed the stairs by herself, her mother grew worried, but seeing the dog acting as a railing, patiently guiding her daughter, the mother's worries instantly faded. From then on, the dog helped the little master up and down the stairs every day. Though repetitive, the dog never tired of it and kept it up faithfully. And so with its constant companionship, the girl gradually grew up. Soon it was time for her to start school. The dog then took on the role of teacher. The bomb blessed when you knew rap. The girl wrote it down with full confidence. Even more surprisingly, it wouldn't let anyone disturb the girl's studies, not even her own father. Aku nggak boleh dekat-dekat sama anakku nggak boleh. The dog not only kept the girl company, but also watched over her health closely. One night it suddenly scratched at its owner's bedroom door. Hearing the noise, the woman came out. But the dog turned and walked away, as if leading her somewhere. She hurried to her daughter's room and discovered the girl. Looking pale, breathing weakly, the sight gave the mother a fright. Fortunately, after a night of treatment, she was out of immediate danger. But the doctor explained the girl had mild asthma. Had they not brought her in time, the outcome could have been dire. Back home, afraid something might happen to the girl, the dog stuck by her side even more closely. Then the girl was drawn by the sound of crying. She went to the edge of the yard and peeked through a gap. The neighbor's boy was burying his beloved dog, watching him cry his heart out. The girl also understood how precious every moment spent with a dog. Truly is, it was the first day of vacation, and the family was heading to the mountains for a holiday. Since pets weren't allowed at the hotel, they had no choice but to leave their two dogs at home. But not long after they drove away, the white dog suddenly had a bad feeling. It ran to the front door anxiously, trying to chase after them. The housekeeper, thinking the dog was trying to escape, decided to simply lock it in a cage to avoid trouble. Just as the dog was figuring out what to do, the black dog stepped in again and freed it from the cage. Seeing the door wasn't locked, the white dog didn't hesitate and dashed out of the house. It followed the scent of its owners all the way, catching several rides along the journey. People it met were quite fond of the dog, giving it most of the seat space. But back at the resort, the little girl was in danger. She was being bullied by a boy, having grown up protected by her dogs. She had never been treated like this before. Sitting on the ground with tears in her eyes, she glanced toward the road and made a bold decision to go home alone to find her dogs. When her mother looked down from upstairs, the playground was already empty of her daughter. Panic set in immediately. They searched the entire resort but couldn't find her. Meanwhile, the little girl had wandered into the forest, surrounded by the gloomy wilderness. She was already having second thoughts, but she couldn't remember the way back. Then, distracted by fear, she suddenly tripped and fell. Her knee was cut wide open, and now even walking was difficult. Just as she sat there helplessly crying, she heard something above her. She looked up. It was none other than the dog she'd grown up with. The girl finally smiled, feeling safe again. She held the dog tightly, refusing to let go this time. After resting for a while, the girl and the dog prepared to leave. But the forest was hot and humid, and soon the girl was struggling to breathe. The dog suddenly stopped as if noticing something. They had come across a hunter's trap. Unaware of the danger, the girl kept walking forward. Just as she was about to step on the trap, the dog rushed over and pushed her aside, narrowly avoiding disaster. Before they could get far, another obstacle blocked their way, a fallen tree that seemed to stretch forever. The girl tried to climb over, but after several attempts, she couldn't get up. Then the clever dog noticed a patch of soft soil, started digging frantically under the tree, and soon made a tunnel to the other side. From there, it barked for the girl to crawl through. But there was no response. The dog jumped onto the tree and saw that the girl had passed out on the ground, her injury and asthma having taken their toll. Standing high up, the dog didn't know what to do, until it suddenly heard the father's voice. It quickly followed the sound. The man was puzzled to see the dog appear out of nowhere, but before he could react, the dog turned and ran. He rushed after it without hesitation. LED by the dog, he finally found his daughter. Seeing her unconscious in his arms, he grew frantic, thinking only of getting out of there fast, and didn't notice the trap ahead. The dog barked loudly from behind, but it was no use. Just as the man was about to step into the trap, the dog leaped with all its strength and pushed them out of the way. The man narrowly missed the trap and fell to the side, but the dog wasn't so lucky. This time, the trap was triggered and it took the blow meant for its owner. The man quickly got up and went to his daughter's side, but as he went to pick her up, he noticed the dog lying still nearby. He gently placed his daughter under a tree, then hurried over to the dog. "What's wrong?" he asked. Seeing it on the ground then, he noticed a steel spike had pierced straight through the dog's hind leg. Filled with guilt, the man realized the dog had just saved his life. But with his unconscious daughter on one side and the badly injured dog on the other, he was torn. The dog seemed to sense his struggle and strained to lift its head, as if to say, "Save her first." In that critical moment, the man knew he couldn't hesitate. With a heavy heart, he picked up his daughter and hurried away, leaving the dog writhing in pain on the ground. As its owner's figure grew smaller in the distance, the dog's eyelids grew heavier, just as it was about to give in a daze. It thought it heard something,